Okay, so you know Lego Star Wars, you know that they come out with so many sets every single year based on the movies, cartoons, whatever it may be. You would think that the close-knit relationship with Lego would mean that all of the sets are completely accurate to what they would be from whatever medium they are, but that's not necessarily the case. And that's why I wanted to go over the top 5 most inaccurate Lego Star Wars sets. Now, obviously, a lot of sets back in the day were very blocky with not as many specialized pieces, but I mean the sets that are just overall very inaccurate, either in the colors or in the portrayal, something about it that doesn't line up with the original source material. One of the sets that really inspired this list is the first one I'm just going to get out of the way right now because I really don't like that it exists, and it's set number 75204, the Sand Speeder. When I saw this got revealed, I was like, man, wow, what movie is this from? Is this from Clone Wars and I don't remember it? Nope, it's from nothing. It's from literally nothing. There's no source material on this. Lego literally made this out of thin air, put it in a box and tossed it on the shelf. I don't work for Lego. I don't know the process that goes into making a product like this, but there's so many other things they could have done in Star Wars that I don't know why this set needed to exist. Why did it need to go to market? Like, clearly it's just a reskinned snowspeeder. I'm sure people would have rather just had another snowspeeder. Why do we need to have this? There's no connection to anything in the comic books or the movies or anything else, and it's not like these parts are incredibly useful or unique. They're just kind of there. The minifigures aren't very inspired, and it's just overall inaccurate to anything Star Wars has to offer. So, you know, I saw this and I'm like, well, there's got to be more instances of this happening throughout Lego Star Wars. And another very infamous one that you're probably very aware of is set number 75177, the First Order Heavy Scout Walker. Now, this sometimes happens where Lego will get preliminary images of a movie and try their best to convey that into the product and put it on shelves where they clearly looked at whatever was happening in The Last Jedi, saw this being used, and thought it would be great to have as a set. Unfortunately, it never made it to the movie, which makes it highly inaccurate to the movie, because this thing does not exist, and it doesn't look like it's ever gonna come back. So, between the minifigures in here not being all that enticing, the build itself being kind of just weird in general, it being like a walking tank sort of a deal, it's just inaccurate to what The Last Jedi represents, and unfortunately was never used in any sort of media at all. It does have a unique design, so I could see it being used in some comic book down the line. I don't think they should scrap it entirely, but I don't want to bag on the sequel trilogy too much, so I want to throw it back to a set from way back in the day. And this one we've actually gotten more recently, but the first iteration of it was Yoda, set number 7194. And yeah, it's really blocky. It's really derpy looking, man. It just doesn't look like Yoda. There was something that could have been done here in terms of sloped pieces or just something else to make this a bit more smooth overall. But mostly it's the eyes. The eyes remind me of like a small child, and it just is not captured the way that Yoda should be captured. Obviously, the newer Yoda, it actually still looks kind of weird in its own different ways, but it's more accurate compared to what the first iteration was. And it's great that, you know, people really want this as a collector's item, especially compared to the newer one, but it is not accurate to what Yoda is supposed to look like at all, except for maybe the scale, but even then, it is creepy looking. So now I'm going to bring it back to a more recent line that came out, and just, I'm not going to put the whole line on the list, but I'm going to put one of them on here because it's probably the biggest offender. It's set number 75119, Sergeant Jyn Erso. And you probably remember seeing this from a lot of clearance bins when Rogue One was out, and they had a whole bunch of characters like this where they were kind of bionicle joint-based action figures that they had. Like, they had Chewbacca, General Grievous, Darth Vader, but they also had humanoid characters like Jyn Erso. You had Rey, Poe, and Finn. So all of the non-humanoid characters actually look pretty good, but anything that looks remotely close to a human looks absolutely inaccurate. between the art direction of the faces and the overall shine on the plastic that Lego has, it kind of makes them look like the fake Santa Claus from Santa Claus 2, like a really, really weird, I don't know what you want to call it, but this is so inaccurate to what the actual actors look like. It was a commendable effort, but I think you're going to see a lot more success with the bust that they've been doing more recently. Darth Vader, Boba Fett, Stormtrooper, they all look really good. And I think they could do a humanoid face, but it has to be with the right molds and the right pieces and the right direction. So in terms of a Bionicle action figure based thing, I think Lego is going to call it, at least for now. Another offender from the sequel trilogy is a set that they actually redeemed themselves on, and I'm very excited about that. It's set number 75104, Kylo Ren's Command Shuttle. And obviously, this iteration is gray, where we know the ship is black, and the wings do not fold in that very same way. Well, they kind of do, but not entirely. Where in the movie, we see the wings kind of span outward instead of just shifting down. So it was Lego trying to take what they could out of the preliminary images, and they just couldn't translate it well enough until we saw the next movie. And especially with something like The Force Awakens, where there hadn't been a Star Wars film in so long, obviously Lucasfilm didn't want to have all the secrets potentially out there for even toy companies to have their hands on. So Lego really got a bad hand dealt to them when they were trying to make this set. So although this one is accurate to the actual source material, I don't necessarily fault them for giving their best effort and trying to convey it the way that they did. And like I said, they did redeem themselves in a future set where they got the accurate colors and they got an accurate iteration of the wings. So that's 5 of the most inaccurate Lego Star Wars sets. I'm going to throw you a bonus one just because I'm liking the way you're looking at this video right now. Set number 7144, the Slave One. It's very small, it's blocky, and they've done so many different Slave Ones since then that look incredibly better. I don't know why they decided to make the Slave One in the scale that they did way back in the day, especially when the X-Wings were a lot bigger, the TIE Fighters were larger, so they definitely redeemed themselves, so that's why it's a little bonus on this list. Those are the most inaccurate sets I could find, but I'm sure you feel that there's something else that kind of missed the mark. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And until next time, I hope you have an amazing day, and keep on building Lego Star Wars accurately. Bye.